Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Squirt.
Squirt who?
Squirt is P, you dumb rednecks.
Right about now, you are listening to the incredible
A Mediocre Time with Tom and Dan, who kindly remind you that squirt is P.
Got it. Coming in hot. Coming in hot with a Chip White. Coming in hot, Chip White. Coming in hot, Chip White, everybody. Chip White. Hold on. Chip White. I just like saying that. All right. Let me admit him and put on the Zoom. All right. Let's see. There he is.
Hey, what's going on, Chip?
Hey, man. How are you?
Okay. You guys there?
Yeah, we got you. We got you.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, you sound great.
Cool.
Somebody just gave you a pat on the back and said, good job, Chip. You got the computer running.
So that guy was actually our first guest. That's Bill Field, who is Lyle Lovett's cousin.
Wow.
Really?
I love Lyle Lovett. That's country music royalty right there, man. Holy smokes. All right. Well, we don't want to waste your time because I know you got stuff to do. So
we're good, man.
Where are you? Are you in a comic book store?
So this is actually where we shoot our podcast. I am in the comic book store. It's a working comic book store.
Oh man,
And
Chip, you are cool, dude. I'm gonna fix. Hold on, I'm gonna fix a couple of my cameras here. I want to make it. I'm gonna fix you. Hold on. There we go. We're gonna change Chip. There he is. Perfect. That's a perfect.
Yeah, our
Chip
guest
right
usually kind of sits here when we get live guests, and I'm usually on the side. But I gave you the full view today.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So customers may come in.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, hold on. That's not you. That's you. Okay. All right. Well, we're good to go on our end. Tom, you want to start? Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. In 3, 2.
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on Twitch and also on YouTube. We'd love it if you join us. Just search for @TomandDanLive.
With us on Zoom today, he's got a podcast called Relatively Famous, and I was just going through all his guests. It's a brilliant idea, and he's the perfect person to host it.
Yeah.
Because he is Vanna White's brother. And on Zoom with us right now, we got Chip White. How you doing, Chip?
I'm good. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Hey, Chip, just quick question right out of the box. How did you found me, right? And then did you Facebook message me? And then I got like an email from you because I honestly don't know how we connected. So can you help me with that?
I saw you guys on Facebook somehow. The show popped up, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'll reach out and.
Yeah.
I think I did it on the website and through Facebook. I can't remember
because
Messenger.
it was, and Tom doesn't really believe that people will randomly find us. So when this happens,
and there must be some connection.
And especially considering that you are relatively famous, it's awesome that because as soon as you said I'm Chip White, I'm Vanna White's brother, because you're like, does that qualify?
Chip, I was like, Chip's neighbor must have lived in Central Florida at one time, and I was like, you should talk to these guys.
You have no connection to Central Florida or anything. You just found us randomly.
Just found you randomly, and okay, that sounds kind of fun. Let's just reach out and see.
I love it because we didn't know of your show either, and then when we started digging in, we're like, man, this is actually like a really great show. Tom was going through a lot of the different people that you've had the ability to interview, and yeah, Tom, go ahead.
Well, I just want Chip to kind of explain the premise of your podcast, and this originally was going to be a TV show, correct?
Originally, yeah. So in the early 90s, everybody was getting, when I was living in LA, everybody was getting a talk show. I mean, every B, C actor was getting a talk show. So I put a little money together, pulled in some favors, and we shot this pilot called Vanna White's Brothers Talk Show. I said, let's just be blatant. Hell, even Vanna White's brother's getting one, right?
Yeah.
And we shot it in our backyard by a fire pit I had built. My wife's band wrote a theme song. Or my wife wrote a theme song. Her band was our house band.
That's cool.
And it's on YouTube, by the way. You can look it up. Vanna White's Brothers Talk Show.
I will for sure.
Yeah.
Like when was that about?
Probably 97-ish, 96, somewhere in there.
So this was a while ago, and I mean, but I
had brown hair back then.
Well, yeah, me too, brother. I feel you.
The show's premise was you talk to famous people's relatives.
Yeah, basically I had siblings on at the point. I had President Bill Clinton's brother, Roger.
There you go.
And Crystal Bernard, the actress from Wings. I had her sister, Scarlett. We had an Elvis impersonator bartender. We literally shot it outside by a fire pit.
That's cool, though. I mean, it's almost like you're ahead of your time because I think that would work better now almost than it probably would have in the 90s. People seem to like the absurdity or the absurd a little more now,
So,
yeah,
Chip, I'm super curious because since you are Vanna White's brother, you have, you could relate to being, a sibling or a relative to someone that's ultra recognizable, famous, and
everyday TV famous is pretty darn famous.
So, and I'm curious in all these interviews, and you can go to relativelyfamous.net, or just search Relatively Famous on any podcast platform.
It'll pop right up. Yeah, subscribe.
But have you ever had a situation where you're interviewing someone that's that's a sibling or related to someone famous, where you're like, oh, I'm familiar with this. I kind of went through this too, like where you basically
like patterns of behavior.
Yeah, or something that you went through in your life that they did as well.
Yeah, it's probably more so once the relative was famous. I mean, look, back when Vanna became famous, and that point, I mean, I was knee deep into drugs and alcohol. That's one of the reasons the TV show didn't take off. And I've talked to a lot of people who kind of the same thing. They've had that pattern. They probably had it before, but it's a good excuse, and our ego wants, like, well, why aren't you just opening doors for me? Don't you know I'm Vanna White's brother? Give me a movie deal, give me a TV deal, give me. When the reality was, dude, if the TV show taken off, I'd either be dead or burned to every single bridge in the world.
Yeah.
So there is that kind of that we have that moment of that ego of like, wait a minute, I want my share. Well, just give me $1 million. You just made 4, and
right.
So it's that stupid ego thing. And
is there an underlying, like, I hate to use this term, and you're there, so you can correct me. Is there a little bit, like, with everybody you talk to, has there always, like, maybe a baseline little bit of resentment, or like maybe not resentment? That's a poor word, but maybe a touch of jealousy, or like.
I think there is, to a point. I mean, depending on if they're trying to be in the business, especially if they're trying to follow in the same business. There are some people like, I just like Jimmy McGuire's sister he's from Jeopardy.
Oh yeah,
and his sister, she lives in Pittsburgh. Loves being a mom. She's a nail tech. She does some stuff. And she's thrilled with that. I mean, she has no desire to follow in her brother's footsteps in LA.
Yeah. It probably takes that it does take it takes a special person to be able to even endure that, because it's rough, it's tough.
Well, I've thought about this. Unless you are or want to get into the entertainment industry, having a famous relative doesn't really help you in any way. Unless that, obviously fame, the money comes with fame, but a lot of people have rich relatives, and then like obviously like, oh, my rich relative throws a big party in Hawaii and brings us all, like some people get some benefits of a rich relative. Yeah. So, but famous, like beyond rich, like you could open doors in the entertainment industry, but if you don't want to get in that industry, then it's a nothing kind of.
Right. I just started working here in San Antonio with Audiovisual Aids. It's a AV company, been around since '56, as their business manager.
Nice.
And it kind of opens the door a little bit of like, I don't go in the door going, hey, I'm Vanna White's brother and I'd love to meet with you. But when it kind of comes up, it does open a door in that business sense. Like, oh wait, you tell me about Hollywood, tell me about this. So it does help a little bit in that. In the entertainment business, it did open a few doors, but
that's what you primarily do, right? Like, I mean, or did, like, you dabbled in and produced and were in a Hollywood role. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how you got into that? Were there doors opening for you, or did you have to make them, kind of open yourself?
They were. Savannah had gone out. She had gotten a little fortune. I was actually working with a manager of hers at the time, and it kind of fell apart. And I'm like, look, if I'm going to start, I'll start back home. So I went back to South Carolina for a couple of years. Wheel really started taking off. Her boyfriend got killed in a plane crash. Yeah. So I went back out to kind of work for her. She should have fired me because I was a horrible employee.
Right.
Well, you're the brother.
But family is almost always horrible employees. Yeah, you're family and you're allowed to be horrible.
If I ever get there, super rich, my sister, especially my brother, like they're not doing nothing. Nah. But that's what the whole trope is here.
And me is not family understands that, and I just let them hang out.
By the way, her real name's Savannah?
No, it's Vanna. Her real name is Vanna.
Well, he said Vanna.
Vanna.
I think you have a nice accent like all of my relatives, so I get what's happening.
I was like, they shortened it to Vanna?
No.
I was like, okay, sorry.
No, so there was, when my mom was growing up in North Myrtle Beach, we had a neighbor. She had a neighbor named Mr. World, and he had a daughter or granddaughter named Vanna, V-A-N-A. And Mom said, I love that name, but I'm going to add another N to make it different. So it became Vanna Marie.
It's so funny too, because I have relatives that currently live in Myrtle Beach. Yeah, like we are Myrtle Beach. I had a great aunt that owned a hotel in Myrtle Beach called Myrtle's Turtle. I don't know if you've
I remember Myrtle's Turtle.
My great aunt owned that little shacky hotel place.
So, Chip, I'm curious to how you get your guests. Has the word spread? You have to go and track some of these people down. You've had Johnny Cash's daughter, Jim Varney's nephew.
That's pretty cool.
The other Evel Knievel's son, Kelly.
Jim Varney has a connection to Orlando. Ernest Saves Christmas was actually filmed around here.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Yeah.
It's a great one.
So how do you find your guests?
A lot. We started with people that I knew from LA. I worked with a bunch of people, so I started there contacting them. People I'd met when I was doing film and film festivals and stuff like that. And like John Putch would go, "Hey, here's a list of 6 people," and call them, tell them I said, "Hey, he was a guest." So a lot of it came from word of mouth. A lot of it's social media. You'd be surprised on Instagram how many people will not answer your message when you DM them.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, guys. I check my messages all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it is weird too, because like with us, like we have them as well. And I think I'm glad you messaged me a second time, or I don't think I would have seen it. It's like they hide these messages in so many different parts, of like Instagram. You got 5 different accounts or this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah. If people forget what's, I like how many people that aren't entertainers or in the entertainment industry don't even check their messages on social media because they're rarely on it. You know what I'm saying? Like even though we are super,
their handlers are surely checked, because if they're not doing the social media themselves, they got handlers, and it's kind of like, it's a little frustrating. It's like, as a handler or a PR person, why would you not at least respond, run it by the person? Again, watch an episode and go, oh, you know what? He's not looking for dirt. He wants to find out what your life is like.
Sure.
So.
Chip, if I'm a handler, I'm lazy. I'm not doing nothing. I'm like,
copy and paste.
Hey,
that is true. The PR firms have gotten and advertising gotten so lazy. It's like, oh, we'll just throw it on social media. We'll just send a blanket. No, we won't even really explore what the option is. And it's kind of like, here's an option. Why not? Why would you not even at least explore it, look at it before you say no? Make a phone call. Call me up and go, so what are you offering? What's the point? You know what? It's not up our alley. Now, a lot of people do, but a majority don't.
Chip, I just want to get high all day. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even doing nothing.
He did that years ago.
No, I'm just saying.
He's changed his ways.
Yeah, you're a grinder, a hustler, Chip. Even the fact that you're doing this interview means that you reached out. You're like, oh, this podcast looks good. I'll get some extra promotion, like increments, little bit at a time. Like
you're a pro. I could tell through your email
lazy.
To me. You emailed me, then I doubled back with you, then you emailed me back to let me know that you'd received my message. Like this guy, he knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah. You're very. And take this as a compliment. You're very old school in that regard. So, yeah.
Well,
dying breed, man.
I'm a little older. So.
Me too. I'm there.
So, Chip, do you have any rules with how far removed someone could be to be a guest on your show? Like, I know that you did Jim Varney's nephew, but do you do, like, cousins, second cousins? Like,
we do, yeah.
Okay.
We do. As a matter of fact, we're recording 4 episodes today after I get off of here. One of my guests that we're recording today coming up is the great nephew of the Italian opera singer Enrico Caruso.
Oh, wow.
Now, I didn't know who the guy was, but we had this conversation. And the reason I really wanted him on the show was he asked me we were at Podfest down in Orlando. If you've never been, it's coming up in January. It's amazing.
We made those people really mad. Oh, we made them mad.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we're based out of Orlando, and we were like, what are you going to teach us? We know everything. We're the podcast guys.
And they didn't even invite us, Chip. We're the biggest podcast in Orlando.
Okay.
We started in 2009, back when no one even knew what it was.
Yeah, we've been doing this for almost 20 years, and they you know what? They spit in our face, Chip.
We want the money, too.
Well, anyway, so I met Jack there, and he asked this simple question. He goes, what if you don't stand in the shadow of your relative? And I was kind of like, what? And he kind of explained, like, dude, I got to have you on because that's a great question.
Yeah.
And even though you know your great uncle's history, you've got memorabilia, but again, you separate last name, different last name as your mother's side. Let's talk anyway. So
I think it's cool maybe if you are a little removed, because we kind of know the story from a person who's like right next door. But like we have a listener, and Tom was reminding him of this earlier today. We have a listener who's, we believe, and we may be getting this wrong, whose dad was the brother of Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, I think his uncle was Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, so he would end up going to these epic like
family barbecues and like family reunions.
These Kenny Rogers barbecues where it'd be Kenny Rogers and Charles Barkley playing a basketball at like a ranch.
And then he flies helicopter away.
Yeah,
like it'd be
the weird stuff. Like Kenny Rogers is flying around in a helicopter. You've got like late 80s basketball players walking around eating food. They're famous chefs are walking around. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd love to have him on.
Oh, yeah, I can hook you up. I'll hook you up.
Chip, It's really interesting when someone gets so famous or like your parent is so famous that you literally change your last name to be able to get away from the shadow that they cast over you because, like, I think Obama's daughter, right? Like, she wants to get in some sort of be an author or somewhere in the entertainment something.
She's changing her last name to Barack, which I mean, it's not going to help you much.
And we've seen this before where like super celebrities, kids, they change their name because they don't want.
I think Jacob Dylan did originally when he was in the Wallflowers,
and that's
because he didn't want to be Bob Dylan's son.
How bizarre is that? It's like they're so famous that you want to be not their relative so you could have a taste of what it would be like getting through life like as a normal person.
Do you hear any of those type of stories, Chip?
Yeah, so Scott Cooper was on. Scott is Leonard Nimoy's cousin, and I think his actual name is Scott Cooper Nimoy, but he fought his whole career in LA as an artist and graphic artist and in the business, but everywhere he turned, Star Trek was in his face. His wife's mother started all the Star Trek conventions in Texas. So like everywhere he went, he just couldn't get away from it. And he was just fighting him. Finally, I'm like, dude, just give up. Enjoy the ride. There's a point where why fight something, in my opinion, and look, I ride the coattails. That why not open those doors? Why not? Because you can open all the doors in the world, but if you suck at what you do, it's not going to. Yeah, the door's going to close.
What I'm good at is opening doors.
Yeah. Like and a lot of times, Chip, and the business, like just getting your foot in the door is 90.
Eyes on it.
It's like that is 90% of it, and then it's like, and then if you're not good, you're right. They're gonna cast you out anyway. And if you're good, then you should have been there, to begin with, and you may have never got that opportunity. So
it may not be something you love.
But yeah, you're right. But again, like you said, it could be a curse for you if you have no interest in the entertainment industry and you don't want to monetize your last name or your association with it. Yeah. And you want to live a normal.
And the flip side too is like I had Morgan Freeman's son Alfonso on, and he looks like his dad, but he's trying to make his life as an actor. So he's got to prove himself as an actor, but he looks a lot like his dad. He's got the name. Does it open a door or does it not? Do they give up? People go, oh, you're too much like your dad. So he fights to make his own mark. Eva Mendez's brother, Carlos, same thing. He's struggling to make his own name without riding coattails. And I said, look, if you can, nepotism is the name of the game, not just in entertainment, and it's that way in the world. And people who don't want to admit it or don't want to use it, it's like, use it, but back up what you're going to say. Back up the name. Sure. Back up your.
The one that made me the most sad, and I can't even go and watch the clip anymore, was I want to say about maybe even 10, 15 years ago, I believe it was Richard Pryor's son went and did Showtime at the Apollo. You watched this with me.
Oh, yeah.
And he comes out and he does the thing where, you always come out, you rub the log for good luck, and then and that's the toughest crowd, I believe, in comedy, I would say, in the world.
Why did he start that?
and it's such a bad thing because, everybody, they were billing him as Richard Pryor. I mean, there's none greater. And they're billing this dude as Richard Pryor's son, and here he comes, and he looks like him. They get him out there, and he's got the microphone and everything, and nothing.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just
yeah.
literally nothing. And it's
That's
you're
setting
right.
yourself up for failure. Everybody's expecting prior, and then you're just like, I just started. Oh my goodness!
Man,
Hold on, let me get
stand-up
my
comedy
notes.
is hard.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
it's so hard.
I was gonna do it in LA years ago. I used to host wet T-shirt and short shorts and bikini contests at this country western bar.
Us too.
And dude, when the audience is on and you're on, it's the greatest feeling in the world. But man, when you crack a joke and it's crickets.
So you've done that. So you and me and Tom, the three of us, have done something that not a lot of men get to do, and that's give other men super soakers and have them wet down ladies' T-shirts. You know, there's only about 40 of us in the world,
and
there's only about 40 of us that have done that.
You would think the audience would be receptive to jokes, but they're too horny for jokes.
They are too horny. They're like, tell this guy to shut up.
You're better off telling jokes at a funeral than a wet T-shirt contest. They do not want to hear your jokes.
Know your audience. In fact, you can literally turn the DJ off. I just want to stare at these wet boobs in silence.
So, Chip, I'm curious too, if the actual, and I know this is kind of obvious, but the relation you have with the famous person, I feel like the son or daughter, the kids of the famous person, have the most unique experience because especially if they grew up with their parent being famous, that's the most bizarre life that we don't, like if you have a kid that's famous, I feel like, oh, you knew them as a kid, they got famous as an adult. And it's
different experience.
It's a different, or in like siblings is closer to that. Whereas like if you grew up with someone in close and then they're famous, it's pretty close. Like cousins are pretty far removed. Like I have cousins that could be super famous, and I've never.
You never know.
I'm not close with them as like far as it doesn't affect my life.
I have a cousin who made it to a very high level of entertainment. But he's certainly not famous. Like, he was first chair trumpet at Caesar's Palace and played for Diana Ross. But he's not a famous person. He just backed up the band of a famous person.
But I
guess
guess
that doesn't really count. But it's cool. I mean, I guess. Are there any white whales you're looking for right now that won't return your calls that maybe we can help you with?
Clint Howard and Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
I think I love the fact that they both have a great sense of humor. I don't know how humor they'll take being billed as, Ron Howard's brother or Josh Brolin's son, but I would love to have them on. Trying to think who else, man. There's a lot of people that, and I want to get some more people that aren't in the business, and I'd love to get some F1 drivers, some Formula One drivers, kids or brothers or somebody.
Yeah. Or like how about
international
a NASCAR,
soccer players,
like a NASCAR, like the son of a NASCAR driver who hates NASCAR. I will never.
I've reached
drive.
out to a few NASCAR people.
He's like, I'll never drive. I Uber everywhere.
So for you, Chip, like Vanna, you guys were already adults, and I know you tried to, like you were one time her assistant, and you were already in the entertainment industry, but. As adults already, I feel like, it's less impactful, I guess, than having a parent that's super famous, and then how bizarre that is. Like, it affects your entire childhood and the way you're raised and like how you can navigate the world. Like, especially if they're real famous, like that's the weirdest to me, I think.
Yeah, well, we've had, I had both Vanna's kids on, my niece and my nephew, Gigi and Nico, and we talked about that. I've had Clint Eastwood's daughter. I'm trying to think who of course, Johnny Cash's daughter. So we've got some pretty people that they're stratosphere parents. And it's different. Like you were saying, it's different if you're the kid, you had no outcome on your parents' career. As a brother, I have no say or direction in my sister's career. As a parent, you've made a decision to help or hinder your kid in their career choice, right? And then I've had Marcus King's father, Marvin. Marcus, I don't know if you guys familiar with him, amazing musician out of South Carolina.
He is one of my favorite. It's so weird to hear you even mention that. Marcus King, it's the blue hat I wear that says honky tonk hell.
Okay.
I have a love Marcus King, and he
so his dad Marvin was a guest. Now Marvin's been in bands all his life. Mostly he took several years off when the kids were small, but now here's a guy who's been trying to make the rock and roll or blues or music scene all his life, and all of a sudden his kid at like 12 years old becomes a YouTube sensation and then gets record deals and Grammy nominated and becomes huge, you know. So it's
there's
how
one
do you
video
deal with that on that side?
Yeah, there's one video of Marcus King just to show you that, like, I forget the name of the store. It's a very famous guitar store, and he was 18 or 19. His band's passing through town, and they just put him on there, and he just does like an acoustic, you know, he's playing an electric, but he just does a song. And then that video just blew up, and then it was like, okay, well, now you are now the next Stevie Ray Vaughan. You're going down the road.
Chip,
there you go.
I have your white whale, by the way. I figured it out. Okay. So I
got one for you too.
Okay, this is so unique of a story that there's nothing like it that's ever even existed.
Well,
I'm
excited to hear what you have to say.
And it's Jacob Knoll, Bradley Knoll's son, who
from Sublime,
who grew up without his dad.
Yeah, his dad died of a heroin overdose. His dad was
as a baby,
a user.
and then but obviously knew about his Sublime, a huge, gigantic cultural phenomenon band that must have an impact in his entire life.
Southern California beachside reggae.
Grew up, learned how to sing and play guitar, then takes over his dad's band. Yeah. How many years later? 20 years later, and is now touring with the same members of his dad's band and singing his dad's songs.
He's like the young guy, and then they're the old guys, and then they're playing. Yeah, that's cool.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, for that, I still want to see them just to see. I'm like, wow, what a crazy story this man has, and life experience that I can't even think of anybody else that's taken over their dead parents'
that one's
career.
Probably pretty heavy too, because losing your dad that young is very impactful.
Yeah.
And to go into the business that kind of killed him, man. I mean, let's admit it. Rock and roll lifestyle is tough, and he had some demons. Probably contributed to the
I'm sure.
fact he was a rock
absolutely.
star.
Another one I would say too, and maybe you've already talked to her, but what about Paula Nelson, Willie's daughter? Because she does the radio show on Willie's Roadhouse. Like, she's always doing remote music, telling stories about her dad. Here's this guy's coming in for a landing at 100, and she's still out there recording and talking about it.
But you know what's interesting about your show, Chip, is I'm kind of gravitated towards the people that are not entertainers. Yeah. Where they just have,
they're not in the business.
They just can tell the story about their own lives and having this, like, Jim Varney. I didn't listen to the episode yet, but Jim Varney's nephew. It's like your uncle's Ernest. That must have been weird growing up, especially because
I don't know. At my high school, that would have been badass. Yeah. I would have been like the coolest dude in the world if my uncle is Ernest.
I know. And then it's like, I want to hear, do you tell other people? Are you ashamed of it? Like, who knows?
I mean, here in the South, Ernest was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty cool about it. He said, like, that at school it wasn't a big deal for a while, but he goes, the guy had the coolest uncle, man. He'd pull up in a DeLorean blaring the classical music, just like Doc Brown, and the doors would open. He'd take me for a ride up to the gas station, and we're doing the whole Back to the Future thing with the DeLorean. And
that's pretty awesome.
And he's Ernest, man. He's
Ernest.
all over
the place. You know what I mean, Vern? And he's got a DeLorean.
What if it's all?
Yeah. You know what? When you put
Ernest
it that
is your uncle. He pulls up on a DeLorean.
You just got a couple subscribers for your show based on that dumb story, Chip, because that's great, man. Yeah. And you're right, Tom. That is the type of experience that having that amount of fame. I'm sure you've had a few of those with even your sister, where it's like you're able to meet somebody that you would never get to meet, right? Because of her. Like, do you have any of those?
Oh man, I have been blessed to be places. Some of my honestly, fortunate, I can't remember.
Do you have a number one? Do you have a that you can't remember?
Oh, it's not necessarily number one, but we were at American Music Awards, MTV Awards. Can't remember. She was presenting. Of course, Elton John was there, and we're in the back room, and so I'm gonna walk around in the backstage. And this is when Run DMC and Aerosmith redid the Walk This Way. And Stephen and Joe Perry are standing there, and Stephen goes, "Hey, you're Vanna's brother, aren't you?" I went, "Yeah, and you're I went completely blank on his name.
You forgot Steven Tyler's name.
Yeah.
He's got 1,000 scarves and a big mouth.
Yeah.
No. And I was like, and I got to meet Gene Kelly at a New Year's Eve party, and I was a huge fan of his movies. So I've gotten to meet people that I never would have gotten to meet. I've been able to be, on the edge.
I'd like to give a pause for the Gene Kelly one because a lot of people are going to sleep on that and not think that's a huge deal. Like that's a.
And, he was so nice. I also learned as I got older and more experiences. If you're at a party, this was a New Year's Eve party at Alana Stewart's, Rod Stewart's ex-wife's house, with a disco in the basement, Ryan O'Neal and Gene. There's tons of people there.
Ryan O'Neal, my mom's favorite crush. Yeah. My mom loved Ryan O'Neal.
And Chip, is this peak cocaine time?
Oh, dude, if Ryan O'Neal's there, it's peak cocaine time.
Was. I wasn't doing any that night, but it was definitely when I was on that path. And, but I said, Mr. Kelly, I hate to bother you, but I'm a huge fan. And at a party, if you're both at the same place, it's okay to talk to someone. It's not okay to walk up when they're about to have a mouthful of food at a restaurant and go, "Hey, dude, I'm such a big fan."
Right.
But if you're at the same, and if you've been invited to the same place, then it's okay to have a conversation with them. We were just at a golf tournament recently.
Orlando's pariah.
No, Chip, and I also realize, and you'll probably understand this too, being around famous people, especially at that time, if someone famous introduces you to another famous person,
we had this
then
happen.
You are, that person gave a blessing, and then they treat you like a normal person instead of a fan. We encountered
George Lopez and Cedric the Entertainer.
Yeah,
Remember that?
Like, we were in a luxury box with George Lopez and Cedric the Entertainer, and Phil Rollins, the owner of a local
sports franchise,
MLS franchise, introduced us like, "Hey, these two podcasters, Tom and Dan," there, and then all of a sudden we
were cool.
They were like talking to us like we were in the same business.
Doing the old comedy grind, huh?
I was like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, they were acting like we were like George Lopez was like, where do you guys record? Where's your studio? And I'm like, "Don't talk to me. You're famous."
And all it took is that. Like, if someone gives you the blessing, then you're good.
Yeah, I got to hang out. I'm telling you, he's getting older now, but Paul Rodriguez.
Oh yeah,
dude. I met him at a NATPE convention in Houston, and he took us out, went to crazy places. I ran into him the next year in New Orleans, and he introduced me to everybody in every bar. And it's like, if you're ever in a city and he's around, dude, I'm hanging out with you, because he knew everyone. He knew the places to go, and you were like, here's the gold star. You're a friend of Paul's, whatever you want. Doors open.
Some people are like that. R.I.P. Bob Saget was like that in Orlando. He took us, we were just going around, and we were going everywhere, and he was just such a kind and super nice guy.
Has there
Bob used to live in my sister's building before she got Wheel of Fortune, her like second apartment in L.A.
No way.
Lived like the floor down below.
Oh wow! I mean, such a small world.
Chip, how like being Vanna White's brother, how many doors does that open? Like, when you say that to someone, like, how do you work it in? I'm curious because I never.
He was very blunt with me. He's like, "I'm Vanna White's brother. Can I be on your show?" I was like, "Yes, you can."
Well, I mean, it's easy to get on our show. But the in Hollywood, would that actually open doors, or it was like? Or have other people tried it too much and they're like, no, how much clout does, or opportunity?
It didn't have a lot. I mean, unless she opened it for you or something, it might, depending on how you met someone, it might open a door. But again, it all goes back to why do you want the door open?
Sure.
And if you get in the door, can you perform?
Right.
We just start tap dancing. They're like, "I'll do anything.
Please,
I want to be rich like my sister." Now they're dragging you out. They're like, "No, I didn't have a plan."
So any other?
And there was also that illusion back then. Like, if you partied with them, you were in. That actually probably hindered my career and my life more than it ever helped.
Yeah, we've done that. We have some clients come over here and they're like, "We want to spend money with you," and then we get them drunk and then we never see them again.
You know what? It seems more advantageous to be a sports star sibling than a movie star, just because it seems like in the sports star world, once someone makes it real big, he's spreading the wealth around the family.
Are you talking about Marcus Jordan?
I was just saying that and it seems like a lot of celebrities in the entertainment business and movie stars are not as much like that, even though there's some entourage like stuff like going on, but it seems more prevalent in the sports world. But let me ask you, Chip, have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen it some, and especially like you're saying in the sports. And unfortunately, a lot of those guys are now broke. They didn't learn. My sister's been very generous with me over the years. It's not like I said, like here's $1 million, go live your life. It's you're in a jam here. Let me help you out.
Right.
You're something this or like she never gave me money to make movies until we started making movies. And then she'd go, oh, that's actually really good. You guys did a great job. I'll help you seed the next one, or I'll help you seed the one after. But it wasn't like, here, let me write you a blank check, go make movies. It was, oh, wow, you guys actually made that. Because for 20-something years, she heard my blah, 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 blah. I'm coked up and I'm going to change the world and blah, 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 And
that's kind of us now.
Yeah. I was saying, Chip,
that we're not coked up.
If I'm Tom White, I'm calling my sister all the time, and I'm always in some sort of a problem.
So many dreams.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, I'm in a bind again.
Hey, Chip, last question because we're running out of time. But do all of the game show people know each other? Like, did you have more access to like game show level celebrities? Because out of all of them, your sister is like Mount Rushmore level, right? Like Vanna White is Mount Rushmore level game show. You will never. She's up there with Bob Barker, guaranteed.
Yeah,
like that's Mount Rushmore level, no better. So did you get to meet other people, or
like Jim Carrey knows you from you know what I'm saying? Like, he's in the game show world. It's like, oh, Chip White. Do they all know each other?
Or what's his name? Not Jim Carrey. Drew Carey.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Drew Carey. I met a lot of those guys at the NAPTY conventions back in the 80s and 90s and stuff when they were around. And it was fun. They would chat, but it wasn't like I'd go to the show and stuff, but we would meet. And Vanna's manager managed a couple of the guys that did one. I think I can't remember Ray Combe, who did.
Oh, right.
I think he passed away. And so he managed a couple of those. So I got to know those guys, but it wasn't. I definitely was not hanging out with Drew.
And they never like reached out to you for like celebrity Big Brother Chip White, like all the because they always want to get shows. Yeah, the reality shows always want to get like the brother or sister of somebody famous and then put them in the show and make them look stupid. They never tried to do that with you.
No, unfortunately, they didn't. Man. And of course, I guess people keep saying you need to go do this show, but no, I did do biography and portrait. Like the kind of reality shows and doing stories on Vanna.
We did Ridiculousness and Rude Tube, which is a British clip show. Yeah,
my son loved that show. Yeah. Rob Derrick lives around the corner from Vanna, actually.
Oh no way! Yeah, well, that's how you know.
Big money.
Yeah, that's big money.
Chip, I like how honest you are with just your own life, and then talking about how you did try to use being Vanna White's brother as some sort of, and again, you did like try to, and riding someone's coattails. I agree with you because I would make the joke that I love to ride someone's coattails.
We've always said that.
And people always look down on it. But I think but like you said,
what tails are you on?
If you use it as an opportunity to help springboard your own career, there is a point where you get off and you're on your own. There's no one that's been riding coattails their entire career and successful. Yeah. Well, you know what I'm saying?
Well, like my producer says, and I've had people respond like, why don't you try to make your own name without using your sister's? It's like, I can make 100 movies and go into a party and, oh, that's Chip White, the producer. And within 10 minutes, oh, that's Vanna's brother. So it becomes Vanna's brother, then the producer, then the actor, then, and that's okay. That's life, man. I mean, I'm so proud of her, and she's had such a phenomenal career.
Oh, yeah.
That how can you get away from it? I mean, and we look so much alike, right?
Well, you kind of do. Yeah, I mean, you're good. You got a good smile. Your attitude's good. You're low key, and I think everybody likes you. And I think, like, I'm looking at the chat room, and everybody seems to very much enjoyed your appearance. And hey, We really
Cool.
appreciate you reaching out, and thank you for the time today, man. And again, plug your podcast and where everybody can check out your show. I urge everybody to subscribe.
Sure. So it's Relatively Famous, brought to you by visitmyrtlebeach.com. Got to throw the sponsor in there.
I love it. Yeah,
which is, our hometown area. And I love to promote things that I believe in. I love my hometown. So when Visit Myrtle Beach came on, I was thrilled. But you can find us at relativelyfamous.net as our website. All the episodes live there. We have a YouTube channel, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, what did I say? What's the other ones?
I think you got 'em.
Apple,
Yeah. Apple
They're pretty
Podcasts.
much, it's out there.
Yeah, nowadays,
YouTube. If you want to watch them, we record them on YouTube also.
Chip, nowadays I just search Tom and Dan. It'll come. You'll find it.
You'll definitely find it.
You just search.
Today we're actually interviewing
Andy
Griffith's daughter, Dixie.
That's
I'm excited about that. I loved Andy Griffith.
That's my dad and I. I grew up on Andy Griffith. That was my dad's favorite show. My dad was a member of the Mayberry fan club, where you get the badge, and I collected all the VCR tapes. I mean, we had everything, man. We were all about Mayberry. So, well, good luck with that, and thanks again for being on the show, man. We appreciate it. We hope to do it again.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. Let me. Now, will this come out not live later also, or is it? All just live?
Yeah, it'll be. It'll be out. Actually, you will be on. Where's we putting this?
July 29th. We just had to air it a little further down the road, but
no worries, man. If I'd known it was live, I'd have promoted. I might apologize.
Oh no, don't even worry about it. That's our fault.
It's live on Twitch and YouTube now, but it'll come out as a podcast and on the terrestrial radio show later. So
I've been twitching a lot for you, if that counts.
Yeah. Hey, we appreciate it, man. Well, hey, take care of yourself. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, man. It was awesome. And again, if you know of anyone looking for guests, tell them to reach out to me at podcastrelativelyfamous@gmail.com.
You got it.
Awesome.
All right, Chip. We'll talk to you soon,
Thanks,
man.
guys. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Tom.
See ya. Bye.
See ya.
That's a super nice guy.
Yeah. He is nice. And
normal guy. I like that.
To still be hustling like that, where you're like, hey, I'm going to find some random podcast and sit down for 40 minutes and do an interview with them on my, it's like, you guys are working harder than we are.
I felt bad. Maybe I should talk to some of our famous friends.
We're going to promote ourselves more.
Yeah. He just reached out. He's just like, if I email one podcast every single day, one of them will put me, and I'm like, I'm too tired to do that. But what are you doing? I'm just sitting at my desk smoking weed.
It goes back to handler. Everybody just wants to be a handler.
What are you doing? You're in there.
Yeah. I'm not even telling the person I'm handling nothing. I'm just smoking weed.
I'm just sitting here smoking weed.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Corporate Time.
That was good.
That was good.
Is that it for today?
Yep, that's it.